You know, in the minor leagues, it's the goal of all ball players to get that call to the big leagues.
That's right. 16 News Now sports director Mark McGill Jr. joins us live in the studio to tell us all about some big league dreams that were fulfilled last week. Mark.
Lauren and Terry, one voice has been a mainstay at Four Winds Field over the last 10 seasons, and that voice got the call up to the bigs last week at historic Wrigley Field.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Wrigley Field. Here come your 2021 Chicago Cubs.
South Bend Cubs on-field MC Mark McGill lived out his childhood dream last week as the PA voice at Wrigley Field for the Chicago Cubs.
And batting ninth, today's starting pitcher for the Cubs, right-hander number 28, Kyle Hendricks.
It was probably the craziest week of my entire life. I mean, it just, after 6 games, it still didn't seem real.
But when McGill walked into the booth at Wrigley for the first time, it got real.
Just seeing the view, and sitting there and getting the script and getting the lineup and seeing the guys, take batting practice, that was certainly real.
The dream of calling a Chicago Cubs game at Wrigley started for McGill as a 7-year-old kid living on the south side of Chicago.
Me being a Chicago boy growing up and playing baseball in the neighborhood, I was always the announcer guy, and so I called those names.
You handled peer pressure well. Back to you, Greg.
The love for the Cubs was big in the McGill household growing up, and it is still to this day. McGill's family members all came to support him at Wrigley, including his father, Jim, who passed away a few years ago.
And I could see my dad's seats behind the visiting dugout from the booth, and it was just kind of special and kind of a tribute to me, and just kind of ironic that those seats are not sold. So I had a picture of my dad in the booth with me, but I could look down at his seats, and his seats were empty. Before
McGill's first game in the booth at Wrigley, he stopped by the cemetery to see his dad ahead of his big week.
I just think he would have been so proud and probably in disbelief like I was, and I know that he was with me all 6 games and will be with me in the future, but it was just, something special.
And calling a game at Wrigley for this lifelong Cubs fan is as special as it gets.
I mean, I just think that, again, being a lifelong Cubs fan, a Chicago boy, having so many memories with my dad, sitting in the broadcast booth on press row at Wrigley Field, watching the Cubs, calling their names. And if there's something greater out there, I don't know what that is.
And don't worry, McGill says Four Winds Field and the South Bend Cubs are like family to him, and he's not going anywhere. But he would love to help fill in as the voice of the Chicago Cubs at Wrigley as much as he can. Also, the Cubs might need him. The Northsiders have a 5-1 record with McGill in the booth. We'll be back after this.